Now it's time for Toker Talk Radio, the voice of the marijuana nation.
What are you people? On dope?
Where you can toke.
I inhale frequently.
Or you can talk.
I experimented with marijuana and didn't inhale.
Or you can toke and talk.
10 federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
While we talk about toke on Toker Talk Radio.
So, by the way, when it comes to pot, if you're 40 years old, you live in a log cabin in Oregon, you got 12 giant pot plants in your backyard, have a ball.
Live from beautiful Portland, Oregon at Rolla J Studios.
Hey, this is great.
Just not cannabis.
Plus your calls live at 971-533-7111.
They're walking on their pants with their cap on backwards, listening to Enema Man and Snoopy Poop Dog.
What's to keep somebody from getting all potted up on weed and then getting behind the wheel? Gateway theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
Holland, is it real? Don't tease me.
We're locking up people that take a couple of puffs of marijuana, and the next thing you know, they got 10 years.
And now, here's your host, the guru of ganja graphics, the sultan of sativa statistics, and the worst nightmare of a reefer mad prohibitionist. A polite, perspicacious, productive pothead with a propensity for PowerPoint. Radical Russ Belville.
All right, good day, tokers and tokettes, non-toking lovers of liberty as well. Welcome to Hour 2, Toker Talk Radio, the live dessert for the full course meal you had in Hour 1. I'm Radical Russ, so glad to be speaking with you today and every day that you're downloading and listening to the Russ Belville Show podcast. Although, if you're listening to me now, you're not a podcast listener. You're a live listener. Or you're listening on 420radio.org as a VIP member. And what a perfect segue for that. We need more VIP members. VIP members are those of you who agree to donate as little as $4.20 a month to keep 420 Radio on the air, to keep this stream absolutely free, to keep this first hour podcast absolutely free. We ask those of you who can afford it to kick down a little. Help us to keep the bandwidth going, keep the lights on, keep the electricity flowing by becoming a VIP member of 420 Radio. Just go to 420radio.org/donate. You can sign up for the monthly option. It's $4.20. But if you go higher, if you get $9.99 option, you get 10% off in the 420 Radio store. You go $19.99, you get 20% off in the 420 Radio store, etc. So if you can afford more, give more, but hey, we'll take $4.20. We're happy with that as well. And thanks to all of you listeners out there who are currently VIPs, who've kept your memberships going month after month. I can't tell you how many times that takes care of 420 Radio and specifically the Russ Belville Show. I might need an Uber ride from the train station to the Hemp Fest, and there's the PayPal. There's some fresh 420 donations from a few people, and I can get a ride across town. So you're helping, and every dollar you donate is going toward 420 Radio, is going toward travel expenses, food expenses, registration, hotels, bandwidth, computers, licenses, printer ink even. So thanks for helping. Really appreciate it. And if you don't feel like doing the monthly thing, hey, I understand. It's tough out there. You can always do a one-time donation as well. You don't get the VIP benefits. You don't get the discounts at the store. You don't get the access to Toker Talk Radio replays. But it is a one-time thing, and you can give as little or as much as you want, and we appreciate every dime. All right, so on today's show, in Hour 2, we're still unpacking the audio from Seattle Hemp Fest. I've already got some of it posted. If you go to my SoundCloud page at soundcloud.com/radicalruss, you can hear all of the segments that I played yesterday on the show, and we'll add today's segments later on, so you'll be able to catch those as well. We've got Jorge Cervantes. We caught up with him at the VIP party at the Seattle Hemp Fest Hemposium. We've got Lindsay Reinhart. We caught her backstage at the main stage and had a nice conversation. We've got the band Red Wing Blackbirds from the main stage. Actually, I don't think were they Maine or McWilliams? I can't remember which stage they were on, but Red Wing Blackbirds will be our musical break at 4:20. And then to round out the end of the show, we're going to play the full extended interview with NORML founder Keith Stroup, reflecting on his 4+ decades in marijuana law reform, the state of the marijuana law reform movement right now, and everything else he had to tell us. So it's a really nice interview. Stay tuned for that. Also, wanted to make quick mention of one of the news stories today. Mentioned the Arizona State University's News 21 program. The program, or the investigative series that they have put together, is called America's Weed Rush. America's Weed Rush. And I had some of these News 21 people interview me at one point. I don't know if I'm in this report or not. They supposedly have 10 videos and 11 databases up online. I haven't had a chance to scour through it yet, but we shall see if any of my quips made it to their interactive multimedia series. Also in the news today, that news of my home state of Idaho taking down mile marker 420. Now, there are not a lot of mile marker 420s in America. There are not a lot of states where you got a highway that's 420 miles or longer. California's got it. Texas, of course. Alaska, of course, probably has a few. Let's see. Montana has a mile 420. Washington and Oregon. Now, Washington got rid of one. I don't think Oregon's got a mile 420 anywhere. But Idaho certainly does. As you run north to south on Highway 95 in Idaho, just south of Coeur d'Alene, they have a mile marker 420, or at least they used to, because now they've got a mile marker 419.9, because everybody keeps stealing mile marker 420. I guess the folks in Texas and Alaska are going to have to start watching out for people stealing mile marker 710 one of these days as well. It just goes to show you how powerful the cannabis community culture is, that the transportation departments have to react to our own code words and our own cultural affectations. I just thought it was kind of a funny story. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. More Seattle Hemp Fest.
Marry, grifo, grass, hay. Technically, it's cannabis sativa. The common name, marijuana. She has found a crutch to see her through her difficulties instead of facing up to them and coping with them. And in time, she may be ready to try something different, something better.
Gateway theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
420 Radio, turning red states and blue states green.
Hi, I'm Alex Rogers, producer of the 4th Oregon Medical Marijuana Business Conference, the OMMBC. There have been a lot of recent changes to Oregon cannabis laws. Recreational sales start October 1st, new licensing from the state, and changes to medical marijuana. Are you prepared? Join us at the downtown Portland Hilton September 12th and 13th with the industry's top cannabis business experts, political leaders, exhibitors, and nightly networking events. For more information, join us online or give us a call. The OMMBC. Be part of history.
Step into the future every Tuesday night with Electric Bob's Boogaloo, our weekly electronic music jam. Electric Bob brings you the latest house, trance, dubstep, and other electronic music from the freshest DJs and producers. It's every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, with replays weekends at 11 p.m. on 420radio.org.
420 Radio is brought to you by Sacred Serum, who is focused on creating elegant and sophisticated cannabis solutions through its line of dispensers and vaporizers that come preloaded with the world's finest cannabis concentrate. Sacred Serum's concentrate is made on pharmaceutical-grade supercritical CO2 extraction machines that use absolutely no butane or other toxic chemicals. The Vesica, the company's innovative new way to dab and frost, is now available in dispensaries across California. Sacred Serum, elegance and sophistication concentrated.
All right, folks. More from Seattle Hemp Fest coming up. We've got Lindsay Reinhart, and we'll start off with Jorge Cervantes backstage at the VIP party. And this is music from Vagrant with Acolyte.
Here at the VIP party, I'm trying to get the mic adjusted while I run the Periscope. There we go. I really need an assistant. But here we are at the VIP party. Dave Sieber is walking by. Hi, Dave.
Hi, how's it going?
Very well. We're inside because it's so rainy outside.
Never been here, man.
Good time, good food, good people.
Absolutely.
But we're going to keep walking around and see who can we see. It's kind of an interesting vibe because everyone's inside the tent, it having been so rainy this weekend. We'll see who else we can run into as we wander around. All right, so we're back out the main area. There's Joy Beckerman hanging out. We have Jorge Cervantes is here. Rick Cusick sitting down at this table with his Gandalf hat. I've been wanting to show off that Gandalf hat here. We'll see if we can get to that. Doug McVeigh. Hello, Doug. How you doing? All sorts of people hanging out. Jorge, how you doing? Want to say hi?
Yeah, sure.
We're doing this thing called Periscope. It's live streaming.
Hey, cool.
So that everybody can see you, and we're enjoying the VIP party. And this is Jorge Cervantes.
Yeah, I just got here. It's a great time. Hanging out. Got kind of a rough weather outside, but there's lots of libations inside. This is new stuff, this rosin stuff.
Oh yeah, because this is the rosin press. It's all mechanical concentrate, right?
Right. Okay, I'm backwards here. Yeah, here we go.
There he is.
We're just bubbling up here.
Well, let's see. And you've got the sheet of that press. Can we see what that looks like?
Yeah, this legal here in this state.
Of course.
Made by Cuban hash burner, and this is flour rosin.
Yeah, it's appropriate for today, isn't it?
You would think.
The U.S. Embassy is now in
Cuba.
Havana.
Yeah.
Well, it's a big deal for me. I've been to
Very
Cuba
cool.
a few times.
Very nice. Very nice.
Okay.
Jorge enjoying some nice rosin press.
This is incredible. Hey, it's from Serious Seeds. Yeah, Simon. So I interviewed with the Oregonian the other day. The interview came out, and in the comments afterwards, you were mentioned as one of the guys from Eastern Oregon and Western Idaho.
Yes.
Like strong personalities who came out of a tough place, you know?
Yeah.
It's great because, they want to, in Mount Hood County, it's one of the counties, one of the 4 counties in Eastern Oregon where they want to make the commerce of cannabis illegal.
And they just put in the paperwork. They've made it official, yeah.
It's official?
Yeah, they've submitted to the OLCC. And since they don't have to put it before a vote, it's official. Yeah, they've got that ban. There's 4 counties in 8 cities so far, and only like 2 of the cities in one of the counties have to put it before a vote. The rest of them is just it's in. It's
so
down.
Rubber stamp.
Yeah, basically.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So we still have those kind of things we have to fight in Oregon.
Well, but the good deal is you can grow it and smoke it.
That's right, and we can have a whole lot of it. They're not counting immature plants anymore.
Oh, yeah. Right. And the thing is, the climate over there is great for growing.
Sure.
It's a little bit warm, you need shade cloth, but it's all right. I grew up there, it can't be all bad.
Can't be all bad. You heard it from Jorge. You're getting a lot of love on the Periscope there. Thanks for joining us. Have a good party.
Hey,
we'll see you later.
Good day, Tokers and Tokettes. Radical Russ here, backstage at the McWilliams stage, now renamed the Black Stage, the Kevin Black Stage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're just going to rename it this year in dedication to Kevin Black, who passed away. And this is kind of the rock stage at Seattle Hemp Fest, so I end up here quite a bit. And backstage here with me, a bunch of people hanging out, just enjoying some herb. We got a guy here playing some acoustic guitar. Oh, no, banjo. We got banjo in the house here. So that makes for a good time, of course. Anytime there's a banjo in the house, that increases the fun factor by about 18%. I believe it's 20 to 18% margin of error. All right, yeah.
factor. It seldom doesn't bring a smile.
That's right. We love that, and of course, hanging out here. Oh, now we're smelling some herb here too, and also here. And Gaio Bielan's sitting to my left. He's hanging out, and sitting to my right. And I'm just trying to get the levels adjusted here. Sitting to my right, we've got Lindsay Reinhardt, my good friend and fellow Red State refugee from Idaho. Lindsay, what is that fine herb?
That is Drusilla by Sasquatch, a local Oregon grower.
What can you tell us about its lineage, its terpenes, all that stuff?
This was thoroughly finished Drusilla, so it's got full terpene profile. I actually had it run by Chem History. Its lineage is White Widow crossed with Cinderella 99 crossed with Space Queen. This grower is one of the most particular growers I've ever met in my life. He tremendously cares about his product. When it's trimmed, it's all trimmed just holding the stem. And if you bruise his butts, he will fire you.
Well, I got to tell you, White Widow and Cindy 99 are two of my favorite strains. So you got 2 out of 3 there. Let me smell that again.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
It's wonderful. Oh, run away, bud. Yeah, that is definitely good stuff. So that's what we're smoking on here. And the other thing that you got back here backstage at Seattle Hemp Fest is the volunteers who make such wonderful munchies. You know, when you're a speaker here and you're walking from stage to stage to stage, you get pretty hungry and thirsty. You always come backstage here. There's ice cold water. I got myself a hot dog and some white grapes and some nuts and raisins, and there's always something back here to nosh on and really cool people to hang out with.
I've had conversations all day about how this festival is run by volunteers, and without volunteers, festivals like this don't happen. People get consumed with greed, it seems, in the states that have turned legalization, and they forget that we all started because we were doing it for the cause, and perhaps people should remember that we do things for the cause sometimes.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Vivian brought it up in one of his speeches where he talked about, here we are putting together Hemp Fest for all these years, all these volunteers who put all this time into it, and then you got certain companies that come into town and throw some fundraiser or party to take advantage of the fact of all these people being into town for Hemp Fest, but then they don't kick down to Hemp Fest. They don't contribute to Hemp Fest, and that's just wrong. You know, it's one of the issues we're going to have to deal with as this becomes more legal is it becomes more commercial, and all of the problems we got with commercial capitalism with everything else start to infect marijuana. It's kind of difficult.
Yeah, I mean, when people are taking advantage of things that cannabis can help provide them, even if it's the opportunity to throw a great party, it should probably kick back to cannabis. So one of the things that I'm trying to do in Oregon is kick back to Compassionate Oregon, because they had been fighting for so long for medical cannabis, and then in the legislative session it was kind of overtaken and overran by growers packs and people with a lot of big money, and the message of the patient got drowned out a lot of the time, except for Compassionate Oregon. Compassionate Oregon was
Anthony Taylor in that group.
Taylor was able to stand up and really get them to listen. I started calling him the legislative whisperer, because he was just, able to really come out and get them to listen when it seemed like perhaps they weren't going to. And by the end of the session, just a couple of days ago, the governor signed one more law, and it was 844, and that added ALS and autism to the Oregon conditions list. So that's really exciting. The sky is falling, and we just got done strengthening the program. So in that regard, I'd like to see everybody throwing support toward Compassionate Oregon and putting their money that direction if possible, and their legislative support that direction, because we do things on the backs of things, and we need to remember to kick down to those things. So when there's a big party going on during Hemp Fest and some other organization, they should probably absolutely kick down to Hemp Fest. You got to remember which cause you're actually doing it for, and kind of keep that intention at heart, I think.
Lindsay Reinhardt, good friend and fellow Oregonian escapee from Idaho. Thank you for coming out here. You're speaking here up at Seattle Hemp Fest pretty soon, right?
Yes, I speak at 3:40 today on the McWilliams stage.
For making all that noise and interrupting your podcast. I apologize profusely. No, sorry. Un Gallo 420.
And Gallo, damn it. Yeah, so anyway, we're going to wrap this up because I'm going to go see who's speaking out there up front, and you'll be speaking again when?
At 3:40 today and at 12:50 on the main stage tomorrow.
Oh, I'll probably get you on main stage tomorrow then.
Okay.
All right. Radical Russ, until next time, take care of each other.
Oh, I could have smoked that pot.
And there was plenty of it to be smoked, Homer. It's 4:20 here in the Pacific time zone. Time for us to take a much-needed safety break. If I can find my vape pen. Where the hell did my vape pen go? Anyway, when we come back for our 4:20 break, we've got Electric Tuesday, but not electric music this time. Instead, we're going to play some Seattle Hemp Fest music for you. The band Red Wing Blackbirds when we come back.
420 Radio. Tune in, turn on, get highly educated.
The Fingerboard extension has fretted instruments to enhance your creativity. It has new and used guitars and banjos from beginning to high class. The Fingerboard extension has National Resophonic, Husson Dalton, Larrabee, Heritage and Recording King guitars, and Mike Ramsey, Wildwood, Gold Tone, and Recording King banjos. The Fingerboard extension also has drum stuff, used gear, and parts. Stop by the Fingerboard extension, downtown Corvallis, Oregon at 120 Northwest 2nd, or check out the inventory on the web at fingerboardextension.com and reverb.com. Oregon has joined Washington and Colorado in legalizing marijuana. We're Portland NORML, the national organization for the reform of marijuana laws chapter in Portland, Oregon. Join us as we celebrate the launch of an exciting new era in marijuana freedom in Oregon. Our job has just begun. Powerful interests want to white out the most important portions of Oregon's legalization law. By joining Portland NORML, you add your voice to the thousands who voted for Measure 91 and want it to be implemented as written. The people have spoken. Now it is time for the legislature to obey the will of the people. Find out more about Portland NORML at portlandnormal.org. Attend our monthly membership meetings on the fourth Saturday of the month. See our website for more details. Portland NORML, ensuring responsible adult marijuana consumers are afforded the same rights, privileges, and responsibilities as beer drinkers. This is Radical Russ encouraging you to take a look at the Weed Blog every day. Johnny Green and the staff at the Weed Blog are on top of all the latest developments in the fight to end marijuana prohibition nationwide. You can even get the Weed Blog on your smartphone by installing the Weed Blog app for iPhone and Android. If it's about weed, it's on the Weed Blog, including my original writing. So don't delay, read the Weed Blog today.
Everyone knows music and marijuana go together, so let's wind up our 20 after break with the Russ Belville Show's Daily Toker Tunes, the best in pod-safe 420 music from around the web. Today is Electric Tuesday, featuring the latest in electronic dance music and other cutting-edge genres. Now, sit back and enjoy your Daily Toker Tune.
All right, we go back to Seattle Hemp Fest, where the band Red Wing Blackbirds played on the McWilliams stage shortly before my speech there on Saturday afternoon. Let's go to the...
How did you keep your head when you found out about it? What did you learn? What did you learn? What did you learn?
420 Radio, the world's voice of marijuana legalization. Get.Buzz. .Buzz is the internet platform that fuels community interest, excitement, and new experiences. .Buzz is the premier online destination for internet users seeking the latest news on a variety of topics. .Buzz appeals to groups active in blogging, communications, journalism, advertising, and marketing. .Buzz offers registrants a stronger alternative to the shrinking namespace of existing top-level domain names, such as .com, .net, and .org. Get your name now at get.buzz. Hey everybody, it's Radical Russ here from 420 Radio, inviting you to be like me and get your ink done at Lucky Horseshoe Tattoo, Fort Worth's most female-friendly, clean, sterile, awesome tattoo shop. Thomas and his crew are true artists who can design you a custom piece or use a design you bring in. Lucky Horseshoe Tattoo also offers all styles of tattooing as well as piercings and all-around fun. In the DFW area, stop by Lucky Horseshoe Tattoo and tell them Radical Russ sent you. Trust me, it'll feel awesome.
Welcome back. That's music from Garrett Monks with Mellow Phase. You're listening to 420radio.org. I'm Radical Russ. It's Toker Talk Radio, and we're going to take you back to Seattle Hemp Fest. Friday was a complete rain out. No speech. Well, there was one speech and one musical performance, and that was it. The rest of the stages rained out. Lightning, thunder, floods at the booths. They said the sky would fall. 5502 passed, and apparently it did. But that gave me the opportunity to hang out in the NORML booth with NORML founder Keith Stroup. Had a great conversation. We decided to record a little bit of it. Here it is for your enjoyment.
We're here on Friday at Seattle Hemp Fest. We're in the NORML booth. It's been pretty much rain all day. They did the national anthem. NORML board of directors, Dr. Keith Saunders, got to give a great speech. His speech was on how they promised marijuana legalization would make the sky fall, and then the sky didn't fall, so they're liars. But we're here now, just hanging out at the booth where there's very few people running by. It's been drenched out here, but Keith Stroup, the founder of NORML, is here, and we figured, what the hell, let's just talk a little while we're hanging out. And the latest news, of course, is that the state of Ohio has made the ballot for marijuana legalization, and they might legalize before the state of California. What's that?
Well, I spoke to the people who are proposing that initiative about a week ago, and I asked them, do you have any polling on this? And they do have some. I mean, I knew they surely wouldn't raise that much money and invest that much money without some polling, but it wasn't overwhelming. It showed they were starting off with a small majority, and usually in a campaign, you tend, when the campaign gets joined, your opponents get better organized. Oftentimes you lose a few points, so it makes me nervous. On the other hand, they're very well funded, and they have, I think, $15 million or something like that sitting in an escrow account ready to run ads. And it's possible that if those ads are good enough, and these are professional politicians, I mean, they're not just stoners who are coming in from some marijuana project. No. They're professional politicians that know pretty much how to work the system in Ohio. They think they can win this. It would be incredible. I mean, in terms of changing the political landscape, it would open up the entire Midwest and, frankly, probably some of the South. Ohio is a very conservative state, and it's a very big state. The old, as goes Ohio, so goes the nation, or something. There's some truth to that. So I still think the single most important victory that should be coming up will be California in 2016. And because of California's sheer size, and because marijuana has always been kind of California-centric for a long time, that will be a very big step when that happens as well. But in some ways, Ohio's far more shocking and unexpected, and it, of course, as you and I have discussed in some of our writing, it also presents a new model that. Whoops.
Oh, we're getting an announcement here. All right. So as things happen here when we're live, we get a little interruption from Vivian McPeak, longtime director of the Seattle Hemp Fest, 24th year, and this is 2 more days, so the next couple of days are supposed to be nice and sunny. We'll get plenty of Hemp Fest, plenty of bands and speakers, lots to hear. We got a couple of great panels coming up as well, but when we, lightning, there we go. When we left off, we were talking about Ohio and how it's controversial, but it's a huge state as far as electorally speaking. As we move into a 2016 election, no Republican candidate has won the presidency without winning Ohio since however long. So that's another factor, I think.
Yeah, no, it's a fascinating development, and the 800-pound gorilla in the room that I suppose I should go ahead and identify is it's an investor-driven initiative, and it's the first one of these we've seen. Now, there have been a few. In fact, there was one in Ohio a few years ago for gambling, and it was the same thing. The people who put up the money also wrote in the language that there would only be, I don't know if it was 3 or 5, 4 sites, and they owned the land for those casinos and then got the permits. Well, in a sense, there's a lot of debate in Ohio among advocates about whether they can support this proposal, because the people putting up the money to qualify for the ballot, if it is enacted, will in fact themselves end up getting rich off the marijuana market. They'll have the, is it 10 licenses? Yeah, 10 growing licenses. They would be the commercial growers. However, there would be more than 100 independent retail licenses up for people, and processing plants to create the marijuana-infused product. So there's a role to play for the small guys still in Ohio, but it is a different model than we've seen in the past. So at NORML, I mean, we honestly thought long and hard, because it's not a perfect, I don't like the idea that these rich people get a special advantage. But when we analyzed it, we realized we're a single issue organization. We are about legalizing marijuana. The 2 things we most care about is stop arresting smokers, which this proposal does. The second is we want a legally established and regulated market where we can buy our marijuana from a safe and secure environment. This initiative provides that. So we decided it's not our responsibility to get into a fight about who gets rich off marijuana. Somebody is getting rich off marijuana in every state where it's legalized. Even in those states where it's only legalized for medical use, there are people getting rich off of having the right licenses, etc. So I'm not saying those fights aren't important, but they shouldn't get in the way of stopping the arrest of smokers. And so National NORML almost certainly will be endorsing the Ohio initiative.
And it's something, for me, I always feel, get it legal, and then you're on a platform to fix things that are wrong with it. You're now citizens fighting for clarification and expanded rights rather than criminals still.
Internally, Paul Armentano actually was the person on our staff that sort of identified that or articulated it first, that it's much easier to fine-tune these proposals once the stigma of marijuana being contraband is gone, and once the stigma of marijuana smokers being criminals is gone. All of a sudden, the subject can be dealt with in a much more rational manner, where we have more credibility. We're acting from a far stronger position politically than when prohibition is in place. So, I wish we never had to compromise, but that's the nature of politics. Is you're always going to compromise. The question is, where do you draw the line? Where are the compromises? But if you look back at ending marijuana prohibition, all the progress has involved incremental steps. None of them have been one big dramatic step. And so the same thing's happening with legalization. None of these laws are yet perfect, for sure, but we are in a much better position now to talk about fixing job discrimination, fixing the problems in the child custody, child welfare system, where they presume if you smoke marijuana, you're probably not a fit parent. I mean, that's absurd, but it's a reality in almost every state today. Job discrimination is a reality. DUIDs in an awful lot of states. People who are not impaired are nonetheless being charged with DUID. So we've got a lot of work to do, but we're in a much better position to accomplish, to fix those things than when marijuana was a crime.
Absolutely. And another sign of all these changes, and now 4 states passing legalization, plus Washington, D.C., is the change in Washington, D.C. I think we've seen a record number of bills go through the House, and even bills now in the Senate we actually have champions in the Senate now. So how far have we come in with respect to Washington, D.C., and who's still in the way?
Well, and I'll tell you, it's only Congress in the way, as I think you know, Russ. Our city council and our mayor and our chief of police are overwhelmingly in favor of legalizing marijuana, and by that they mean licensing growers and sellers, retail outlets. They've already totally decriminalized. The voters decriminalized marijuana, but the city council had already reduced it to a $25 civil fine. So even before the voter initiative went into effect, we had one of the friendlier anti-marijuana laws in the country. Now it's perfectly legal to possess up to 2 ounces privately, up to 2 ounces even publicly. You're allowed to possess it. You can't smoke it publicly. But some of the fascinating changes that automatically occurred, our chief of police sent memoranda around to her department and held a press conference with the mayor, informing them that, number one, the smell of marijuana was no longer probable cause to search an automobile or a home or any place else, because obviously from the smell of marijuana you can't tell they have more than 2 ounces or less than 2 ounces. We've been making that argument for some time, and mostly, by the way, the courts have been sympathetic. I think one state has so far said no, they still have probable cause, but in 3 or 4 now they've clarified it. Well, we didn't have to clarify it in the courts. Our chief of police just announced it. She also held up what was 2 ounces of something that looked like marijuana so that her police would see what 2 ounces looked like. She instructed them that if you're uncertain about it and you think it's more than 2 ounces that the person has, seize it, take it in, weigh it, but if it is less than 2 ounces, you return it to that person promptly. I mean, it's absolutely fascinating stuff. And by the way, at the press conference, some journalists asked the chief of police, like, well, aren't you frightened by this marijuana being legal? And the chief of police says, I'm paraphrasing, but this is pretty close. He says, oh, marijuana's never been the problem. It's alcohol that scares me.
Wonderful. They're using our own frames.
Yeah, I mean, they're actually buying the argument in the way we've been framing it for a long time. But it's wonderful in a district of Columbia. It's a fairly, we only have 650,000 people that live there or something, although there's 6 million in the immediate area. Having that progressive environment, and it includes the fact that we have 5 or maybe 6 now legal dispensaries up and running. You have every member of Congress who is, they have a second home. They live at home, but they also live at least 3 days, sometimes as many as 5 days a week in Washington. So whether they like it or not, they're having to experience a version of legalization every day when they get up and go to work, and it has to have an impact on them that's favorable to us. You know, I realize that some of those deep South people are so anti-marijuana, nothing's going to change their mind. But we don't have to win everybody in Congress. We just have to win half plus one. And so I would bet that we're not more than 5 years away from being able to win it federally. It's not tomorrow, but it's a lot closer than most people think.
And of course, a lot of that's going to hinge on what happens with California.
Yep,
and Nevada's on the ballot already. Arizona looking to go, possibly Massachusetts, Maine, Michigan. We could have, 11 legal states?
Yeah, and you might have the first 1 or 2 by legislature. Now, one thing we will have to accept is if it's done legislatively, it will have more compromises than it would if it were done by a voter initiative, because that's the nature of state legislation. You're having to appease your opponents who sit in the key government committees, or else the bill doesn't pass. But it still would be an incredible benchmark to say that for the first time, I mean, every one of the victories we've had up till now, and it was true for the first 8 or 10 medical victories, they were all by voter initiative, and all of our legalization has been by voter initiative. But we're close to having enough public support and acceptance that we're going to start winning legislatively. Well, that's important because only 24 states have the initiative process, 26 do not, and there's no federal process. I wish we had a federal initiative, because right now the polls show we could win that son of a bitch if we had a federal initiative. It's anywhere from 51 to 58% support, but we don't. We have to win it through Congress, and so we're not close yet.
Well, you've been doing this for over 4 decades now, working for marijuana reform. You get to meet a lot of people through that time, you know, with different legislators and celebrities and musicians. And who isn't among us now that you wish could see what's going on now?
Probably John Morgan and Lynn Zimmer. For people who have followed this issue for some time, they were both PhDs from New York. John Morgan was at Queens College, I think, or was Lynn at Queens, and he may have been at NYU, I forget. But they were on the NORML board of directors and advisory board for a long, long time. They're very close to Lester Grinspoon, for example, a little younger. They just total commitment to legalizing marijuana, a very creative influence, and both of them unfortunately died young and did not get to see the progress. I'm sure, like me, long before it happened, we were able to see the demographics that it was going to happen because people my age and older who were mostly opposed to legalization were dying and being replaced by people who are younger, and that process is continuing today. Well, young people have no problem with marijuana, whether they smoke or not. It's just no big deal. I can't imagine why you would ever voted to make it a crime. So we knew we were going to win it, but obviously I wasn't sure I'd live to see it, and it makes me sad that John and Lynn didn't make it. And there are others. Bob Randall would come to mind without a doubt. There have been too many victims along the road, so it's too bad that we lost any of them. Including, by the way, think of the people, there's still a number of people serving life sentences right now for marijuana offenses only, no violence. Now, those were large quantities, I understand. They were major smugglers. But come on, guys. If you're legalizing marijuana, it's time to let those people out. If all they would do is let the nonviolent marijuana offenders out, I would be satisfied with that, even though there might be some violent offenders who 20 years later, they deserve a second chance. But I'd be happy if they just let the nonviolent marijuana offenders out. And I do think it's late, but Obama's administration has, in the last few months, begun to focus attention. They even put out a statement recently asking people to please send in their proposals to the Justice Department of people who they think should be paroled or had their sentences commuted or whatever. They felt they weren't getting enough requests. They wanted more. That's a change in attitude. I'm glad to see.
That's a beautiful thing. One last thing to think about. This is my 10th Hemp Fest. This is about 10 years I got involved with Oregon NORML. And when I got started, I looked this up. There were 10 medical marijuana states. The Gallup poll was 36% for legalization. Wow. Alaska and Nevada had just lost legalization, and in the next year, Colorado and Alaska lost, and South Dakota lost a medical marijuana.
The only one we ever lost, I think.
Yeah, they lost twice in South Dakota, and the second time they ran it, it got less. Like, oh my God!
That's a difficult state.
So I feel fortunate that I kind of got in at where it was at the lowest in the 2000s, and then started to get a lot.
Well, you're right. By the way, all during the late 80s and all during the 90s, the parents groups were in control, the Just Say No movement. And so we were, I think all legalizers were mostly keeping our heads low and trying to stay out of the line of fire. We weren't able to make any progress. It wasn't until California in 96 that the wind began to change and began to be behind our back, and it's been behind our back ever since. And frankly, I think we're past the tipping point. You're never absolutely certain that some horrendous event might happen and freak people out and change their attitudes, but right now, what the survey data shows us, it's important. We're not just winning among marijuana smokers, we're winning among the non-smokers, and that's most important. 86% of the country don't smoke. Only 14% are regular smokers. Now, there are a lot of those other people have experimented with it, so they're sympathetic, but nonetheless, in order to continue to win this, what's important is that we retain the majority support among the non-smokers, and I don't see any reason why we won't.
All right, Keith Stroup, the founder of NORML. We're here at the NORML tent, and now the rain has gone from a torrential downpour to just somewhat regular rain. It is wet here at Seattle Hemp Fest, but we're glad you could join us here listening on the podcast. I'm Radical Russ. Until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
It's always 420 on your 24-hour cannabis community radio, 420radio.org. At Herbie's Cannabis Seeds, we pride ourselves on bringing you the best quality seeds from the world's most respected cannabis seed producers, all at the lowest online prices. You can find Herbie's Seeds at herbiesheadshop.com. All cannabis seeds are sold as souvenirs and as a means of preserving cannabis genetics. Herbie's Seeds in no way intends to condone, promote, or incite the use of illegal or controlled substances. We strongly urge all prospective customers to check their national laws prior to placing an order. Herbie's Seeds at herbiesheadshop.com. Proud sponsors of The Russ Belville Show and 420 Radio.
Let's hear it for comedian, MC, and activist, Ngaya Bilam.
Make more noise. Make some noise if you like weed. Who likes weed? How about pot? Anybody like pot? Who likes pot? What about marijuana? Who likes marijuana? How about grass? Who likes grass? How about dank? Anybody like dank? How about kush? I'm gonna do this just for like half an hour. There's just so many names for weed. I love marijuana. It's fantastic. Weed for me is like the umami flavor of life. Do you understand? It's like the soy sauce, right? It's the ketchup. It's the ranch dressing of doing shit. Some shit's cool. You put some weed on it. It's a little bit cooler, right? Maybe it's not cool at all. Dip it in some weed. It's all right. I don't care to wash dishes, but I don't mind getting high and washing dishes. You feel me? It's very pleasant. It takes an extra hour because I have to make a playlist first. So fresh and so clean. Right, I have different playlists depending on what kind of dishes, how many dishes. If there's lots of spoons, there's extra Soundgarden. Clean those dishes while you can. Spoon man. Thank you for getting my 25-year-old grunge music reference here in Seattle. Woo-wee! I love Seattle because they have great weed and great coffee. And weed and coffee is the poor man's 8-ball, right? So I spend the whole day just drinking coffee and smoking weed, just coffee everywhere. Even the shitty restaurants here have great coffee. So I just drink coffee all day, and then I'm up all night shitting. It's great. So it's good to be here. I love weed, right? It makes me a better parent, right? I don't beat my kids. I'll talk to them 3 or 4 hours. They probably wish I would hit them. They're like, man, are you still talking? Can I just get a spanking? Shit. Well, my kids know I smoke weed. It's not a secret. They also know they get the benefits. Thanks to marijuana, Dad will take you to any animated feature ever, at any time, ever. Right? They just come and tell me the plot. What's going on? The panda knows kung fu. Hell yeah, shit. Get your shoes. Let's go. Get in the car. Hurry up. I don't want to miss the previews. Let's go. Is it 3D? Tell me it's 3D. Dad loves 3D. Right? Be at the movie theater like, you guys go get the tickets. Don't look at me, look for cars. Go get the tickets and get some snacks, get some gummy bears. Make sure they're fresh. Squeeze the bag. You have to squeeze the bag. You have to teach your kids life skills. Right? That's one of the things you have to learn as an adult is how to get fresh gummy bears. Am I the crazy one? Right? Here, I have a question though. Who's in charge of naming weed? Who's in charge? Who the fuck wants to smoke green crack? That's like some Martian crack and shit. Right? They named weed after people. There was some Charlie Sheen Kush. Charlie Sheen's not a weed head. He's a crackhead. Who wants to smoke weed that makes you act like a crackhead? I'm good on that Charlie Sheen. Do you have some Willie Nelson in the back, perhaps? Right? No. Let me get an eighth of the Miles Davis, right? And I'll take a quarter ounce of some Snoop because I got a party tonight. And we don't love them hoes. Thank you for yelling out ridiculous shit, sir. I appreciate that. See, and that's why I like weed, because if he was stoned, he'd have been quiet. Now look. Oh, that's not true. Well, yeah, okay, right? Stoned on indica. You're like, I get high and talk all the time. It's my fucking job. Fuck yeah. People get high, right? People get high at work. I was talking to this dude one time. He was like, man, I get high before the job interview. I was like, that's crazy. And he goes, man, if I can't handle the interview, I can't handle the job. Fair enough. If he did well on the interview, I would hire him. Right? Because he won't be different after lunch. Some guys come back after lunch different. It takes them a minute. You have to talk slower. Right? At least he practices. Right? Because I'm opening a new business anyway. I got a few business adventures going right now. First of all, I'm opening a cannabis concentrates extraction company, primarily staffed by people of color. It's called Black Lives Shatter. I wrote that joke yesterday. That's a pretty good joke. I'm keeping it. It's a very targeted. You can't tell it at the plumbers convention, perhaps, but at the Hemp Fest, I must have read the flyer wrong. I dressed up. I thought they said Pimp Fest. That's funny to me. I'm also going to open a bed and breakfast hotel in California, the Wake and Bake Inn. Would you come visit me at the Wake and Bake? Would you go say hell yeah, right? Good morning. Good afternoon. Really, we don't get up that early at the Wake and Bake, right? Check-in's at 3. Take your time. Nothing really starts happening until around 4 or 4:15. We're fancy, though. We're fancy. There's a chocolate on your pillow, right? It's fucking full of weed. Maybe you should only eat half of that shit. Be careful. Right? But you'll sleep good, wake up feeling refreshed and shit. Man, I feel great. Hey, you're just in time for lunch. Good afternoon. Right, I love weed. Legalized weed is going well. States are making money and shit. Crime is down. Everybody's saving money on criminal prosecutions. It's going very, very well. And listen, this may be a radical approach, but I feel we can legalize more drugs. I really do. I feel like drug abuse is not a criminal issue, right? It's a social abuse problem, right? It's a social problem. Listen, if we legalize heroin tomorrow, who's going to go out and buy some heroin? Me. I'm pretty much the only one, right? And I don't even do heroin. I'm just a good host. I also have a liquor cabinet. I don't really drink, but I don't give a shit. People do drugs. This is America. They can't stop us. I don't care. Do a bunch of drugs. I don't give a shit. Just let me know. So I don't think you just all of a sudden went crazy. I just know you're high as a kite. I don't care. Do a bunch of ecstasy. I'll buy you orange juice. Right? I'll let you rub my vintage polyester jacket and shit. I'll give you the car wash treatment. Lean back. Lean back. Get it. We'll have a good time. I just like weed. I love weed. I'm kind of fancy in my pants with weed, right? Tasting notes and shit. You know what I'm talking about? You know, like wine used to be the only thing. This is how everybody's getting fancy, right? Wine used to be the only thing with tasting notes. You know what I'm talking about, the tasting notes? You get your glass of wine, you can be all fancy in your pants like, oh, this delightful Pinot Noir has notes of cherry and oak and a hint of leather and a soupçon of feces, I believe. It's just a small undertone, an undertone. Right? We get like that with weed. All my friends are like that shit, especially around harvest time. People go crazy coming out the mountains and shit with big bags of shit. Everybody's trying to figure it out like... That's a Kennewick train wreck. From the east side of the hill, picked 2 days before a thunderstorm by a man with one leg. I'm sure of it. I can tell. I bet you an ounce. Right? Everybody's fancy like that. Coffee's like that now. When did coffee get fancy? Coffee just used to be coffee. I like a coffee. Here's your coffee. No. Oh, this Sumatran blend has notes of monitor lizard in monsoon season. They just make shit up. Oh, this single farm Ethiopian offering tastes of drought and colonial imperialization and fucked up globalization policies, so you get your privileged ass out of bed in the morning and have some chick in a bikini lean through a fucking window for $4. God bless America. I do love us. It's hard sometimes, though. It's just hard to be healthy out here. This is America. We lead the league. We are pioneers. We are constantly on the cutting edge of finding new and even more delicious ways to eat like shit. That's what we do here in America. That's our thing, man. You like Doritos and you like tacos? How about a Dorito taco, motherfucker? How about that? You feel like that pizza's too healthy, don't you? Yeah. We're going to put hot dogs in your goddamn crust. Freedom. Right? Take your hot dog pizza crust and dip that shit in some ranch dressing. Yeah. That tastes like Jesus holding a gun. That's what it tastes like. We had studies. We did focus groups. We spent millions of dollars to get the Jesus holding a gun flavor into your hot dogs and ranch dressing pizza crust. That's how I woke up one morning. I walked into my kitchen. My roommate was buttering a Pop-Tart. What? And then she gave me a piece and I ate it, and then I was all, I wish you had never showed me that. That shit was so good. I'm 47. I can't start buttering Pop-Tarts, right? This is too late for me to introduce buttered Pop-Tarts into my middle-aged breakfast routine. And you can't swim enough laps in a day to eat buttered Pop-Tarts for breakfast at 48 years old. I'm trying to mix in a salad and eat the rainbow and shit. I haven't gone full vegan or nothing. Are there vegans here? Great, we're going to talk about you with love. Here's the thing, very healthy, but they always want to make some fake shit to replace the real shit they gave up, right? Which is cool, I guess. But then why do they expect everybody else to want to eat that shit too, though? Show up at the potluck like, hey, man, I made some cheese out of cashews. Would you like to eat my nut cheese? Hell no. Hell no, thank you. I know you went to a lot of trouble. I'm not trying to be an asshole. Right, but you can even go past veganism on the food evolutionary scale, right? You get all the way up to raw food. They don't cook anything. Everything's raw. They invite you over for dinner and don't cook. They just forage in the backyard and come back with some shit. I found wild arugula and Marion berries. I'll have wood ear mushrooms and kombucha. We shall feast. They're very evangelical, the raw people, too. Always on your case, always trying to convert you to the raw side. Right? Come on, really? You still cook your food? Come on, man. What are you, a caveman? Rawr. Listen, brother, it's the 21st century. It's all life. It's all enzymes. It's all natural. It's all vibrations. It's all consciousness. It's raw food, man. It's what you need. I'm rawness personified. I am one with the universe right now. I don't even shit anymore, for real. I just squat over my worm box and rich, fresh compost shoots out of my ass. Circle of life. Right? Like Wavy Gravy told me, it's not you are what you eat, because you are what you don't shit. Thank you. It's conservation of mass. It's true. How much time do I have left, Steve? 2 minutes. All right. Because I have no concept of time because I'm high as fuck. I'm higher than a Chola's eyebrows right now. Take your time. That's not really a shot, dude. It's just observation. I'm higher than grandma's draws. I'm higher than Mount Rainier. Higher than giraffe titties. There's a lot of analogies. It's just an analogy, brother. What was I talking about? Weed? I love marijuana. Woo! It's fantastic. And I love, this is my umpteenth hemp fest. I've played a lot of them. I played a lot of different hemp festivals all over the country. It's just amazing, man. I've been to crazy ones, right? I've been to the Seattle Hemp Fest, the Portland Hemp Stalk, the State of Jefferson Hemp and Music Expo, the Hemp Con, the Kush Con, the International Cannabis and Hemp Exhibition, the High Times Cannabis Cup in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Detroit, Denver, Portland, Fresno. There's a Secret Cannabis Cup in Barcelona, right? It occurs to me, oh man, the Oregon Medical Marijuana International Business Conference is coming up September 13th to 14th in Portland, and it occurs to me that weed is the only illegal drug that people throw festivals for, right? Nobody ever goes to Meth Fest. Like, hey, welcome to Meth Fest! Who stole the fucking sound system?
The great Ngaio Belam. Live on stage. We've got his full performance coming up in a future episode. And Lydia Popovich, a guest comedian, joined us as well, so we could hear some of her material. We'll have more of the panels from Seattle Hemp Fest, including an amazing panel on terpenes that a lot of stuff I did not know, and a panel on industrial hemp, and a panel on cannabigotry. Those will be the next 3 days worth of panels we'll play here in Hour 2, Toker Talk Radio. You can also check out my SoundCloud page, soundcloud.com/RadicalRuss. Get downloads of all these clips and share them wherever you like. But that's all the time I got today. Time flies when you legalize. For everyone here at Rolla J Studios in beautiful legal Potland, Oregon, I'm Radical Russ. Until next time, take care of each other, Tokers.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down smooth.